So, I'm gonna be showing you this Braun watch. The model is the BN0021 BKG. It's gonna be a very in-depth review, and also I'm gonna tell you about my experience when I bought it. First of all, the reason why I have three of the same models is because both of the first two ones that I bought were defective, and the third one was the actual watch that I'm gonna keep because it's the less defective of the three of them. I bought them on Amazon US. All of them, I ordered them. I have the boxes here. The reason why I'm returning these two, I'll tell you right away. So this is the first one I got. And I noticed something when I got the box. First of all, they had like these two tapes here attached to them. And once I opened it, it didn't have like the protective round cover that usually new watches have. And then I noticed it's very hard to show. It may not even show on screen, but underneath the glass, you may see it a little bit. On the inner part of the watch, there are fingerprints, and it seems like it's not clean. So I'm speaking about this part, the crystal, underneath, like on the inside part of the watch. It's very, very hard to tell on camera. And my first instinct was, oh, it's just my finger. Oh, you can see it there on the left part where the 9 is. That's not the exterior part of the watch, that's the interior part. So of course I tried to wipe it as much as possible. And then that's when I noticed, oh, it's nothing I can do about it. So honestly, I believe they tried to sell me a new watch as if it was. Sorry, they tried to sell me as a used watch as if it was a new watch, which I found completely dishonest. Here are the receipts from Amazon. So you know it's actually true that I bought it on Amazon. So I'm gonna be returning this one. So after I complained, they sent me this one. And this one, lucky me, it did have the protective plastic cover. And when I took a look at it, everything seemed perfect. There were no markings. The crystal was mint. So I said, okay, this seems to be looking good. And then I noticed a different defect. On the back side of the watch, I don't know if you can see it, right here, there are two marks on the case, on the metal part. They look like kind of like somebody put the nails on the metal. So it looks like two marks here. And that's kind of screwed up because it's also a defect that the watch has. I know it because this one didn't have it. And it's just very weird that all of a sudden it has like these two marks. So they tried to sell me again a defective watch. So then I tried to return it again to have it changed. Sorry, and that's it. They only gave me the chance to have this one sent back. They replaced it with this one, and once I wanted a replacement for a third watch, they said I'm not allowed to do it, so they're just gonna refund my money. So, long story short, these two watches, I'll be returning them because they give like a month and a half to do it, and then I bought the watch once again, which is this one. So this is the third one I bought. This one was actually the lucky one in terms that it didn't have any issues with the crystal. It was mint, no dirt, no fingerprints. Everything looked perfect. And on both sides, underneath, there was no issue whatsoever. That's just a little bit of dust, but that's because I've been wearing it. So as you can see, the quality control, I don't know if this is Braun or Amazon or whoever, But out of 3 watches, 2 of them had issues. This one seemed to be used, which is totally dishonest, and this one had a defect on the case, on the metal. Like I showed you, had like these 2 markings, and this one was like the one that had no issues. So that's something to warn you about. The price was around $78 US dollars, and then I live in Canada, so plus taxes plus import fees, I paid total about 120 US dollars. So that's that. Now I'm gonna go more into the watch itself. So the reason why I got this watch and why I insisted on getting the correct one after 3 times is because I love the design. It's a beautiful design, as you can tell, because it has no lugs. It's just like a perfect circle. And something that I've been reading about that it's the case, the second marker doesn't hit the spots. It's misaligned. As you can see, it doesn't really hit the spots. It doesn't really hit the second markers. And that's the case with all of the 3 watches that I got. None of them really hit the marker. The orange handle doesn't hit the markers. So that's kind of a shame, but I can live with it. Something you should know as well is that the strap is super long, as you can tell. I have a very thin wrist. It's about 5 inches and 3/4. So it's less than 6 inches. So the original strap didn't work at all. I would need to open a hole like here or something for it to work. And then I would have excess strap. So that's not really the fault of Braun, but it's something you should know. So I got this much smaller wrist strap that does fit my very thin wrist. So that's why you can tell there's a difference. Other than that, I'm happy with the watch. It has a 5-bar water resistance, so that's all right. And it's a beautiful watch. It has about a 8.5 millimeter thickness, and the dial, it's about 38 millimeters. So it's a good watch if you have like a small wrist like I do. Something you should know as well, because I did a lot of research into Braun, this kind of watch. Everybody says that this is a watch designed by this big designer in Braun called Dieter Rams. It's not the case. I believe he may have designed some actual clocks that have a very similar aesthetic than these watches. But these actual watches were not designed by him. They were designed by that's what the research I did. They were designed by the current chief design person at Braun, which of course is not Dieter Rams, because Dieter Rams was designer like back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And so it's the current designer of chief designer of Braun. And Braun, they hired I believe it's a Swedish design company to help design these watches. So it's kind of like a mixed effort between Braun and a third party company, design company, I believe in Switzerland. So it's not really designed by Dieter Rams. That everybody's saying that, oh, this watch is, it's a legacy or it's something that was designed by this Dieter Rams. It's not the case. Something you should know as well is that Braun, the watch department of Braun is not handled really anymore by Braun. They kind of sold it to a UK company called Xi'an. And that's something important to know, because it makes a difference, because we see the brand here, but it doesn't have this legacy high quality German thing that the Braun brand tries to sell you anymore. It's just, you can just see the logo, but in reality, they're not really controlled by Braun anymore. It's more by this company called Xi'an. And I believe Braun, they kind of just check if everything's going more or less well. But everything is not what it seems. Also, these watches are manufactured in China, according to the research I did. The movement is Amiyora, which I read. It's a very basic Japanese movement, but it's supposed to be fairly okay. But again, it's such a shame that the second marker doesn't hit the spots. So I know it's a long video. I just wanted to show you everybody that are interested in this watch, what my experience has been. This was again through Amazon US. So it's just such a shame, you know? Such a cool looking watch with so many quality control issues. So there you go.